I wanted to read to you from the Tao. I love this translation of the Tao. It was given to me as a gift, and I can't I can't speak the translation, but it's Gaia Fu Feng and Jane English are the people who translate it. So forgive my lack of good speech in describing their or pronouncing their names. So I want to read passage 48 to you. In the pursuit of learning, something is acquired every day. In the pursuit of the Tao, every day something is relinquished. Less and less is done until non-action is achieved. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. The world is governed by letting things take their course. It cannot be governed through interference. So very simple passage. Much of the Tao is very simple and very profound. This idea that we kind of beat our heads against the wall often to try to accomplish things and bend things to our will, whether it's something you're trying to accomplish at work or in your heart. And sometimes the very best thing we can do is to relinquish more, to let go more, to interfere less. So to me, there's always paradox within the Tao. There's always a deep message of truth. And then there's something that within me resists against it. So what do you mean I can't interfere? What do you mean I can't guide, and have will to guide my path? What do you mean I have to let go and relinquish? So sometimes we resist against the going with the flow. So go ahead and sit up straight and tall and find a comfortable seat and think about ways in which perhaps the accumulation of knowledge or the accumulation of skill has not served you, where truly the times in your life when you've surrendered and let go, when that has served you more. There's a time and a place for everything. Of course, there's a time and a place to learn and grow, but there's also a deep time of surrender. So notice something that you've been resisting against in your life. It can be anything at all, anything that you are kind of meeting up against with resistance. Let's see the rock. Feel into that watery nature of your body here. So as you settle into good posture, relax your skin. Imagine that you are floating in a stream where water is moving over you, cleansing you, not just, like getting clean, but cleansing the mind, cleansing the body, cleansing the spirit. Allow yourself to feel that you can float within the water, that you will be held, supported, protected, and that there's nothing to be done. There's only to surrender to the flow. Try to remove all the mental obstacles, the rocks in the river. See if you can notice when things come up. There might be a resistance here or a resistance there. You might feel it in your body or your breath. But imagine that you're in a gentle stream that's just flowing. And even if there is a rock that you come across, that water just flows right over. All right, so being the watery element, see if you can now find your way into your breath. And imagine that your breath is without obstacle as well, that there's a freedom in the flow. And if you come across an obstacle in your breath, notice what's there. What is this? What is this obstacle? Is it something in my mind that's creating tension in my body? Is it something just in my body? Is it a habit? What is the emotionality that you discover when there's choppiness or resistance in the breath? Still feeling that watery nature from your crown flowing down your arms, your shoulders, your arms, your torso, your legs like water. You're in a warm waterfall. What can relax more? All right, let's place the hands together at the heart. Create an intention, and even your intention, can your intention have an element of surrender to it, where we're not attaching to a result, we're not attaching the will like glue to a future event or sensation or result in the body, mind, or spirit, but rather let your intention be within the process. That your intention can be things like having focus and attention or surrender, things that stay within the process instead of a product. And then release the hands. And we're going to stand up for a moment. We're going to start with some standing movement here and some standing breaths. So often, I'm sorry, I have a little something in my throat today. So if I clear my throat a lot, I apologize. But let's start just by having some bouncing. Okay, so you can turn this into any kind of movement that you want. Let yourself just kind of loosen up and be free. There's no rules of how you want to be right now. Shake things out. You can wiggle the body. All right, and then find your way into some stillness of your Tadasana. Sometimes sitting is a resistance in and of itself. We battle with our spine, we battle with our knees or our pelvis. And maybe you have some resistance in standing too, but let's just notice, if you're comfortable, the grounding that can happen through this sense of Tadasana. And imagine that waterfall kind of energy that's moving down over your head, down through your body, dripping water off of your fingertips, down your legs, into a little pool, a little river at your feet. Now, with this sense of softness, open the heart. Try not to have your yielding be a collapse. Let your yielding be an opening. And let's freely move the breath. Okay, so a little bit of hand movements here. We're going to bring the arms out in front of us on the inhale. And then we're going to kind of travel down the front of the body on the exhale. We're going to move this differently in just a moment, but just get used to the arms moving. So arms coming up on the inhale and then traveling down the body on the exhale. If you've ever had energy work done or some healing touch, therapeutic touch, just see if you can do this to yourself. Now we're going to change our arm position. So bend the knees like you're scooping something up. And then on the exhale, dropping that energy down. So the vayus of the body The apana and pana vayus are the sense of energy flow. So we have directional flow upward, we have directional flow downward. And let's see if we can just come into balance as you do this. You might find that you want your legs to be a little broader apart from each other so that you have a wide base of support. You can scoop all the way low, like bend, like you're picking something up, or you can just stay in that standing realm. Try not to have attachment to what it's supposed to look like. Feel instead what this feels like. Are you able to regulate your breathing where you're going up the body with some energy as you inhale and moving down the body with your exhales? Slow the breath down. Give yourself time. Now, without using your hands, imagine that same energy, and it's not just in the front of your body, but you're rising up from your feet. The energy is moving through the whole of your being. And then on the exhale, going down into the roots of your feet. Your arms may naturally find a way into movement if that feels comfortable. Maybe not. Keep imagining that you're receiving from the earth on the inhale. And then you're giving it back down to the earth on the exhale. One more time. Just notice if your attention, if your focus is here. If you feel like you have a sense of flow, a rhythm of flow in breath and in the energy body. And then even if you're like, what the heck is she doing today? This is so weird. Just see if you can go with it. Okay. All right, let's start from the front of our mat. Take a deep breath in, rise up. Exhale. Bend the knees and float forward. Let your back relax here. Bend your knees as much as you want. Feel that waterfall of your spine. Inhale for a halfway lift. And then exhale. Melting nice and slow. All right, so slow and steady, lowering yourself down to the ground. Arms come overhead. Stretch your legs straight and reach into the body. Reach your right, reach your left, and just enjoy now that we're on the ground, a different type of sensation. In cactus, open your arms. Feel into the breath. Notice any rocks in the river. See if you can allow the breath to be as spacious and free without interference as much as possible. Start to let your practice have a teeny bit longer exhales. This is our gift of surrender right there. The doing less and the being more. All right, bring your right knee into your chest. Feel free to move your feet around, roll around in your ankles, wiggle your toes, anything that wakes things up. Feel the extension in the spine. And then when you're ready, switch sides. Left knee comes in, right leg is long on the ground. Feel into that space that can be found in your spine. Feel free to move your ankles and feet if you would like. All right, then relax. Stretch your body out like a big star, stretching your limbs wide. And then exhale, knees into your chest, head up. Inhale, spread your limbs out. Exhale, draw it in. Relax your head down onto the ground. Put your feet on the floor. Okay. And just windshield wiper your knees left and right. So we don't have a destination of dropping the knees down. There's no where we're not going anywhere. Okay, we're just in the experience of flowing and moving the body and breath. So try to start detaching from the results of your practice, or even the landing somewhere in your practice, and come into the fluidity of your breath as much as you can. So wherever your body lands, look for the fluidity. Go ahead and roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Transitions are often places we lose our flow. So see what you can do to hang in there so that you're staying present with the experience of breathing. All right, let's start moving through the body, arching and rounding the spine. So imagine that your spine is a fluid river, that it's not just bumpy bones connecting to each other through tendons and ligaments, but that you are fluid, that there's a channel through the spine that the breath can move through. And remember, if anybody's ever had craniosacral work, there's this beautiful river of cerebral spinal fluid that bathes your brain and spinal cord, and it has a flow. So imagine, you don't have to necessarily feel into your cerebral spinal fluid right now, but imagine that things are fluid, not just solid. All right, so let's roll around in the body in any way that feels good, remembering that we are primarily water. We are mostly fluid. We are much more fluid than we are solid. Stretch back to child's pose when you're ready. Walk the hands out in front of you. Feel free to rock a little bit and move to the left or move to the right. Make sure you're staying in the breath. So when you notice that you hold your breath, this is a very good cue to the body and mind that something is amiss. And it could just be habit, but oftentimes we grab onto something with our breath. So let's see what we can do to have like sand falling between open fingertips. Okay, nothing to grab onto. Walk your hands over to one side or the other and stretch through your rib cage. A lot of times when we move to the end point of range of motion, this is where that tight cord can, we have the risk of losing our fluidity when we go right to the edge. So when you do go to the edge of your range of motion, take a moment, feel that you're still in the river. Open to the other side. So ways to tell if you have reached a limit or crossed a boundary is: one, for sure, the breath. Two, can you relax? Is there a state of grace? Is there a sense of ease that's balanced with the expansion and maybe tautness that you feel in the body? Okay, come back to center, up onto all fours, come back into the rhythm of your breathing, arching and rounding the spine, taking your time to move around in any range of motion that's available. Stay with the breath. If you hold your breath, pause and notice, why are you holding your breath? What's creating that tension? Inhale and lift your arm up in the air. Exhale and slide that shoulder down. Let your neck be as relaxed as you can make it. Keep the thigh bones moving back. As you get to the end point of wherever your range is in this posture, become fluid again. And that does not mean that you lose your stability. So can you have both? You know, the river has banks. Try not to be a marshy area. Be a river that's flowing, having some banks, but not Resistance, resistance, resistance. All right, inhale, reach that arm all the way back up. Place the hand down onto the ground and change your sides. Arm up. Can you feel all the way to your fingertips? Slide that shoulder down. Become water all the way to the fingertips. Yield into the earth. Stay with your breath. Gaze downward, let the neck be soft. And then inhale, reach that arm all the way back up. Hand coming down onto the ground. Let's find dog pose. As you start to find poses that are a little more strenuous, this is where the rubber hits the road a little bit. We have to seek out and focus our attention on the ability to stay relaxed, to stay fluid. So see if you can interfere less with the natural weight bearing and yielding capacities of the body. Try to find the difference between strength and resistance. There is a difference. So see if you can still feel that energetic flow as you yield into the earth and rebound through your body. Whatever you felt when we did that first passage of our moving energy through the values of our body, can you still feel some of that here? Relax your neck, stay into the yielding, yield and then push and reach. How's the breath? And then walking forward, float a little bit, relax your neck, the knees are deeply bent. Inhale for a halfway lift. Then exhale and melt again. Let the neck relax. Open up the legs a little bit more. One more time, halfway lift. Full inhale, exhale, and relax your neck and your knees. Rising on up, bringing the arms to the sky, opening up your chest, leaning back, a big cactus, and then relax the arms down. Okay, we're gonna do some figure eights. So take your feet, turn to the side of your mat, and we're gonna start just with the legs. Many of you have done this with me in the past. It's been a while since we've done this. We wanna feel as though your pelvis is doing a figure eight. Okay, so we're going to bend into one knee and roll the pelvis in a semicircle and then bend into the other knee. All right, so if you're not sure, look at what I'm doing. So you're moving into one leg's weight, turning the pelvis, and imagine, you are an infinity symbol with the center of it is in the center of your pelvis, okay? So just get the legs first. Sometimes when you're trying to figure out something new, if this is unfamiliar to you, it can be a little weird, but once you get the hang of it, it's a great place to start feeling into that fluidity, okay? So you might go faster, you might go way slower. I don't care what your speed is, let your speed be where your body is able to find this. Now, there's lots of things you could do with your arms. So you could do figure eights with the arms. There's so many things. I don't want you to think too much. I want you to just let your body move in a way that feels good to you. So whatever passageway you're finding with your arms, once you get the movement that you want to do, bearing weight into one side and then shifting that weight into the other side, this pose might turn into something very different. You could widen things out. I want you to let go of expectations. There's nothing that has to be done here. There's no speed to achieve. There's no rhythm to achieve. There's no shape to achieve. Only staying with the presence of energy moving. So if you've ever studied any martial arts of any kind, there's obviously lots of different techniques. I want you to, not necessarily feel like you have to have technique right now. Come into the flow. Find your breath. Notice if you have a tendency, do you have one leg that you really enjoy landing in more than the other? We're going to find our way into stillness. Your feet a little wider than your hips. You can put your arms anywhere you want. Imagine those bayous of the body. Again, where we're rising upward on the inhale. Coming downward on the exhale. Bring your feet back to neutral, hip width apart. Come to the front of your mats. And just notice, where is there resistance? Where are blocks? Where are rocks in the river in your body? Is there anything that you need to focus on letting go? Inhale, rise up, open chest, big breath. Exhale, float forward and relax your spine. Halfway lift, spine gets longer. Exhale, step back with a lunge, right foot forward. Grab your blocks if you want them. Let's stay in this rhythmic flow. So we are the river, crown reaches to back foot, and start to move. Now, as we start to come into familiar shapes of our yoga practice, some of which require a lot of extension in the body, a lot of flexion, contraction in the body. See if you can do so, reaching endpoints of postures with fluidity. So we have this beautiful balance of stability and ease. All right, let's ground ourselves into a lunge. Feel your roots. Before you rise up, feel the roots go down. And then root to rise. Bring your arms anywhere that is serving your breath. Keep the neck and shoulders as relaxed as you can. So even though we're in a static shape, where is the flow? Soften any joint that's locked out, like your back knee perhaps. And then release. Walk your back foot forward. Fold again. Melt the head. Halfway lift on the inhale. Feel that your breath is guiding your movements. Exhale and melt. Step your right foot back. Your left foot is now forward. A lunge. Enjoy when you stretch open in a place in the body and you get that zing of sensation. Enjoy. These are the beautiful sensations we have. Let's go ahead and bend and straighten the front knee. Find your breath. This is all about breath, all about fluidity. Touch your endpoints. Try not to go past ranges of motion that are available in that realm of stability and ease. Okay, so we're not meeting resistance with resistance. We're meeting resistance in muscles with breath. Okay, do less. Achieve less. Be here more. Okay, so ground and rise up. When you're ready, put your arms wherever you want them to be. Let go of goals, expectations, resistance, and just be in the flow of your breath. Keep the neck relaxed. Feel into your fingertips. Ground into the earth. Are you in the full expression of your posture that touches everywhere without a sense of resistance? Can you feel that strength can be here and that it's very different from a feeling of resistance? You still have a waterfall traveling down your neck, down your back. And then release the hands down to the ground, dog pose. As you come into this symmetrical, balanced posture, enjoy the inversion. Melt your head. Feel like your skin can kind of drape off your bones. Drip
like of the waterfall that is moving. Can you ground and feel the strength that's required? And within that strength, can you find space, ease? Breath is your gateway there. Unlocked joints is your gateway there. Yielding is your gateway there. Come forward into a plank. Stay in the breath. As you come into a posture that's very strong, where is the difference between strength and resistance here? Can you still find flow? Are you still able to yield? Can you unlock elbows and knees? Put your knees down to the ground. Come on to the floor. Let's roll the shoulders a few times. Then take a breath and lift up into Cobra Pose when you're ready. Exhale and melt back down. Take your arms wider out in front of you. Take a deep breath and stretch open here. Reach your legs, stretch through the front of your body. Feel that the front of your lumbar spine is so spacious. The neck is long. And then relax and melt back down. Remove props out of your way. So if you have blocks next to you, get them out of the way for a moment. And many of you have done this with me, but we're going to do it slightly differently. So we're going to bring the knee up on one side and then push our toes into the ground. I always think of babies crawling when I do this. Okay, so other knee up, and then we're going to push and slide your foot down the mat. Okay, so it's helpful to be on I'm going to show you this from the side. It's helpful to be on a mat for this. So here we are. We're going to bring our knee up and then press your toe to straighten your leg again. Going back and forth from one side to the other. Just letting your pelvis find a little movement. It doesn't matter how far up your knee gets to your armpit where you begin. How's your breath? Bring your right knee up there, and we're going to cross the left arm over to the right and open up into a twist. Breathe your way here. Let the knee leave the ground enough where you can take the back of the right hand to the ground. Stretch open through your chest. Relax your neck. Coming back to center. Left knee climbs up toward armpit. Right arm crosses over to left. Twist open. Allow the back of the hand to move to the ground so the knee surrenders away from the earth. Where's the path of least resistance? How is your breath? Now, if it's comfortable, I want you to just go back and forth a couple of times from one side, and then back to center, lift the other knee up, and go to the other side. Stay in the breath. One more time each side. Stay in your breathing. Come back onto your belly. Put your hands under your forehead for a moment. Just lie down prone. Shake your hips left and right. Loosen things up. Let your knees relax. And then breathe here for a moment and just notice the changing shape of your spine. As you are ready, come up onto all fours. Let your spine start to relax. That might have been a lot for your back, so feel free to kind of sway your hips from side to side, or do some circling, or move back to a restful child's pose. Okay. You can rock, just take care of your back right now. Stay in the breath, stay in the fluidity. When you're ready, dog pose. Once again, this sense of ground, yield, push, and reach. Find extension without tension. Find strength without resistance. Notice if your breath gets choppy or skipped over or held or shallow. Notice if your neck and shoulders carry things they don't need to. Walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Relax your neck. Let it loosen. Halfway lift, spine grows. Exhale and melt. Drop your seat, rise up, arms to the sky. Trace down through the center line of the body with the palms. Pause here for a moment. I'm going to return back to that state of moving some energy. So to bring your feet a little wider apart, down on the out breath, and then up on the in breath. Where do you want your body? Sometimes I like my legs to be wider. There's no rules here. We're just trying to perceive the flow of energy in our body. Make sure your breath is moving. All right, and then get to a comfortable stance and take your hands like the bottom of a bowl right in front of your low belly. And feel this low center of gravity. And you can put your hands on your low belly if you prefer, or you can have your hands open like a bowl. Bend your knees a little bit, yield your legs. Get the center of gravity to get low. Now imagine that your hands are going to stay there. We're going to move our hands, but imagine this bowl is still here. And then inhale and bring your arms up. Okay, we're going to take our legs wider apart and find our way into some standing poses. So still feel this low center of gravity. Bring your arms up in the air, right foot turns out. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, hands come to the center. Exhale, Vira 2. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands in. So you do whatever you want. We're flowing through this pose. Do whatever you want with the energy, with your hands, with your arms. Couple more moving postures. And then we're going to settle ourselves into Virabhadrasana. Gaze out over your fingertips. Stretch from your heart to your hands. Relax the shoulders. Yield into that low center of gravity. The legs yielding into the earth. Strength without resistance. Stability without tension. Ease, breath, river flowing. Reach the right arm up. Reverse your warrior and find your way to triangle pose. If you want to use a block, by all means. And now we're not moving to flow here, but can you feel the flow inside? Can you yield down that vayu that goes downward? And then the one that goes upward. Feel that your breath travels movement through your body. Do you have a sense of stability balanced with ease, a sense of groundedness balanced with fluidity? Come back up. We're going to turn our feet the other way. So left foot turns out. Same idea. We're going to move here. So arms come up. Exhale, find Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, arms come to the center. Exhale, Vira 2. Now choose, we're going to stay in the breath and the flowing rhythmic movement of straightening and bending our leg, but take anything that serves with the arms. How was your breath? When you're ready, go ahead and find your way into the stillness of the posture. Stillness in the outer body does not mean stillness in the inner body. Still feel the breath moving. Feel the flow of energy from the earth up through your body and down again. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Stay inside the beautiful rhythm of your breath. Balancing stability and ease. Balancing fluidity and grounding. When you're ready, reverse your warrior, open up through your rib cage. And straighten your leg and find your way into triangle pose. Shoulders away from the ears. There's a sense of grounding, rooting through the big toe, tipping the pelvis. Are you still in that low center of gravity where the legs are supported deeply by the earth and there's still spaciousness and fluidity moving through you? Has your breath changed? Can you keep that beautiful rhythm? Come on up. Turn your feet back to center. Take your legs perhaps a little less wide apart. And we're going to return back to our figure eights. Bend into the knee, pivot the pelvis over that knee, and then change to the other side. Where do you want your arms to go? Maybe your center of gravity starts to get much lower. Maybe you start to stop the figure eights and just come into a deep, low goddess pose. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to bend your knees really deeply. Get the center of your gravity to drop. Find your goal again. Breathe here. Ground the legs. Soft shoulders. Stand up. Bring your arms wide, heel toe your feet, come back to dog pose, front of your mat with your hands, back of your mat with your feet. Stay in the rhythmic flowing of your breath. Stay in the breath. Yield, push and reach. Notice if there's any obstacles. Where are the obstacles in your path? Can you let your breath smooth out? Surrender what you can. Come forward into a plank. Stay in your breath. Down to the ground you go. Any back bend that feels good in your body and breath. Exhale and relax. Come back up onto all fours. Move the spine about, release, and then eventually find your way to child's pose. You know, take your knees wherever you can breathe best. So you might feel better with your knees wide. You might feel better with your knees closed. Just find what's available. Melt your skull. So let the exhales take this energy down into the earth. All right, when you are ready, choose either come onto your back and choose either crossing a thigh over a thigh or a foot on a knee. So reverse pigeon or eagle legs. Okay, so whatever, don't necessarily choose the pose for its deepest stretch. Choose the pose for where you breathe best. Just loosening up the hips. Stay in the beautiful breath. Spread your arms and legs wide on the ground. Exhale, knees to your chest. Head up, change sides. Left foot on right knee or left thigh over right thigh. Feel into your breathing. Soft shoulders. Drop some energy into the earth. Let the head be heavy. Shoulders are relaxed. You're staying in your breathing. Then unwind that pose again. Spread out arms and legs. Knees into your chest. Head up. And then relax. Put your feet onto the ground. Windshield wiper your knees for a moment. Just dropping them left, dropping them right. All right, so for this next posture, I want you to choose this for your comfort more than anything else. We're going to do heart bench, one block, either between your shoulder blades like this or along with your spine, in between your shoulder blades. And then perhaps if you have a blanket and you want to put a blanket over that so that you have a little bit more comfort. And you can make some choices here. You can come into Supta Baddha Konasana with your knees splayed wide. You can grab some pillows or blocks or whatever you got to put underneath your knees. Or you can have your legs straight. You might be on 2 blocks. You might be like me with 2 blocks and a blanket. So just adjust whatever you need to adjust to have a sense of deep comfort in this heart opener. So take the time to do it right so that your posture feels comfortable and you're not all tweaked out in the body. And once you find that state of grace, make sure you have enough support in whatever you're choosing to do. And then we're just going to breathe here for a bit. Put your arms anywhere that serves. The most important thing you're doing is breathing. Can you stay in your river? Can you remove the rocks? Allow your head to feel fully supported. So as you are ready, if you are super comfortable, you're like, oh, I finally just hit my flowing river and I don't want to move, then don't move. But if you're ready, go ahead and find your way onto your side. We're gonna lie on our back. Bring your knees to your chest. Rock a little bit, just swaying from side to side. Heavy head, relaxed breath. Put your feet down onto the ground if you're with me. If you're still in your version of a back bend, great. Hips move over to the right, knees drop left. Find the beautiful twist. A deep inhale and a full exhale. Melt the fullness of your head. Come on up. Recenter the pelvis, have a moment in neutral, and then shift your hips over to the left and bring your knees toward your chest and drop them to the right. Turn your head to the left, relax. How's your breath now? Twisting can often change our breathing, so keep your flow. All right, back to neutral. So take a moment to free up any part of your body that might need freeing. So perhaps happy baby pose, or knees to chest, or a plow pose, or maybe you want to stretch your quads or keep twisting. So just take a moment to follow the calling of your body, whatever your body's asking for, listen and respond. There's no rush, but when you are ready for Shavasana, decide how you want to be. Do you want your legs up a wall or on a couch or a chair? Do you want to be flat on the ground? Would you like to be in child's pose with the bolster under you? Do you want to be on your side? So choose a pathway right now that sounds really good, that your body can fully relax in whatever position that you are discovering. Now, before you just kind of fully let go into the posture, notice, okay, if there's any places that are resistant. Shavasana can teach us so much about the undercurrents that are in the river, you know, where we have these unconscious patternings of tension or strain or holding, resisting, attaching. So drop your awareness into the body and breath. Drop your bones, your weight, your limbs into the earth. Feel into the deep surrender of your face, your tongue, the deep places inside your ears, your jaw. And then relax what you can and melt into that ease.
Begin to deepen our breathing. Once again, feel into the rhythm of your breath. Become the flowing river. Imagine those values of the body flowing freely. Feel a deep sense of groundedness. Start to transition your way out of Shavasana, so slow movements coming eventually onto your side. Take your time. Coming up to sit as you're ready. In the pursuit of learning, something is acquired every day. In the pursuit of the Tao, every day something is relinquished. Less and less is done until non-action is achieved. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. The world is governed by letting things take their course. It cannot be governed through interference. Place the hands together and offer the grace of your practice. Send your energy to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.